You're watching Blunt Politics with Boston Brian.
Oh, let's go. Welcome back to the weekday thing. Appreciate you joining me. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, share it out. It would be very much appreciated if you could. This is Blunt Politics, and I'm Boston Brian. Lots to get to tonight, really too much to get to as usual. We got some fuck around and find out videos to get through. We got some ridiculous clips from back in the day from Pete Hegseth, some craziness from Donald Trump. We got some good things from the Biden administration he's doing on the way out, and some things that I don't really care for that he's doing on the way out. What else we got? We got, like I said, we got just more than I can shake a stick at. We got some good news from Ukraine regarding F-16s and a ridiculous accomplishment that one of the pilots managed to accomplish there. And, that the media is now continuing its, the bootlicking, kowtowing, capitulating to MAGA and Donald Trump. It doesn't get any more blatant. Oh, thank you, Colleen, right off the bat. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you hanging out on a Wednesday night. I know it's late. You've probably had a long day of streaming or watching streamers. But yeah, I think the first thing we should probably check in on is what everybody's probably been talking about all day long, and that is the fires. Oh, first off, let me say hi to you guys, and then we'll go into the fires. How's everybody doing? Hi, Colleen. Thank you so much for the donation right off the bat there. Hi, Devon. Hi, Jenny. How are you? Hi, Roxanne. Hi, John. Hi, Albert. Ginger's mom. How are you? What's up, KJ? How's everybody doing? Flapper. Lacey Carter. What's going on? Hi, Tiff. How are you? Thank you for your services. Ramona. How are you? Thank you so much. Big Dog. What's happening? Norma Plummer. Leah. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't know if Hal's still going. I'm assuming that he is. I appreciate anybody who is joining me from Hal. I think tonight's episode might have to be brought to you by Hal Spots, Mega Worldwide. I feel like contractually somewhere I messed up last show and I didn't say his name enough. I feel like I'm catching strays all over the place from the Hal Spots, Mega Worldwide section. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. But let me see if I can bring this in right away. This craziness that we've been watching, or everybody else has been watching all day while I've been working. Let's check in with a little bit of this. So as it says here, Pacific Palisades fire burns in Los Angeles. Eaton fire kills 5. Live updates is what you're watching now. Let's see here. Multiple fires burned in Los Angeles County on a Wednesday, prompted evacuation orders and warnings, and damaged more than 1,000 structures. 5 people are dead. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department confirmed to CBS Los Angeles the Palisades fires exploded inside as powerful winds hit northwest Los Angeles, forcing the evacuation of at least 30,000 residents in the affluent community of Pacific Palisades. The Eatonhurst, Lydia, and Woodley fires are also burning. Palisades fire in Los Angeles was reported at 10:30 a.m. local time Tuesday and has grown to over 15,800 acres with zero containment, according to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. A second wildfire, the Eaton fire, broke out Tuesday night in the hills above Altadena, a community in northern Los Angeles County, also prompting evacuation orders. 5 people are dead due to the blaze, which burned at least 10,600 acres as of Wednesday afternoon, according to officials. Let's check in and see what this guy's reporting. Uh-oh. Look at the scene behind him. Jesus. That's terrible. That is terrible. See, where are they at now? I think they just gave an update not that long ago. If not, this is what that might be. Extended fire, water shortages. Firefighters battling the Palisades have dealt with the water shortages. The fire officials have told CBS on Wednesday. Also, with the erratic Santa Ana winds that have helped fuel the fire, Los Angeles Fire Captain Eric Scott told CBS Evening News anger and managing it to Norral Donna on Wednesday that crews faced water pressure issues while battling the blaze. Look at that shit. I mean, to see the large areas just completely taken out by this is truly awful. And obviously, I mean, I hate saying thoughts and prayers and condolences, but I mean, what else can you say or do at a time like this from the position of, 3,000 miles away, obviously? Um, just terrible to even watch. Obviously, we'll keep our eye on that. Hopefully, I think from what I've been told that at least the highest winds are behind them, I'm hoping, at least. And they're able to get the appropriate amount of water on the correct places to slow these things down, at least. you know yeah, I mean, that might be asking too much in California, especially Southern California, I'm afraid. Let's check on, see what he's saying. Holy fuck. That's craziness. That is craziness. Now they're going to zoom in on that. All right. I'm not going to sit here and... Wow, that's wild. That is fucking crazy. Unbelievable. Well, obviously, I hope everybody that can make it out, can get out, will get out, and any services that are needed. I mean, and again, now this no audio from your source doll. Now, why would that be? I was just listening to it. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I appreciate it. We'll see if I can take that one off anyway. But I mean, isn't this what we were talking about in the show not that long ago when we were listening to? Here, let's check this out. Let's see if I can. I think I have it right here. Ready? It's yeah. Let's see here. Pull this up for you guys. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can share this now. Stop sharing. Presents. Share screen. Remember this? I mean, tell me how dangerous this seems now. And how ridiculous. Let's see, I'll bring this in to you guys. Like this. How's that? How's that now? Remember this?
Governor.
Later in the day, California professional firefighters put out this statement saying, "It is shocking that we have a presidential candidate who is threatening our public safety and does
ready?
Opponent."
We cannot allow Comrade Kamala Harris and the communist left to do to America what they did to California. The state of California is a mess.
Good evening, Pennsylvania.
Democratic nominee for president, Vice President Kamala Harris, was stumping for votes in Pennsylvania. Harris spoke again about preserving abortion rights and went after former President Donald Trump over his vow to replace the Affordable Care Act with another package of health reforms.
He said he has quote.
There's a point where Donald Trump oh, here it is right here. Ready? Check this out. Sorry, my apologies.
Former President Donald Trump had a few things to say about California.
California has the highest inflation, the highest taxes, the highest gas prices, the most illegal aliens, the most regulations, the most expensive utilities, and it ranks as the third worst state to start a business. It also has the most people leaving it.
The Republican nominee for president also criticized the government's response to the ongoing landslide in Rancho Palos Verdes. This after more than a week since Governor Gavin Newsom proclaimed a state of emergency in the community, giving the city state funding and support from the Office of Emergency Services. Trump also said he would withhold federal firefighting aid to California once he's in the White House.
Gavin Newsom is going to sign those papers. And if he doesn't sign those papers, we won't give him money to put out all his fires.
Right? So if he doesn't sign those papers, if he doesn't play ball, if he doesn't lick the boot, if he doesn't do exactly as I say, I'm going to withhold funding so he can't fight those fires. Now, I mean, does anybody think that might be something that we should bring up now, considering what we're seeing now in the Los Angeles area? You know, what would happen, God forbid, if this was under a Trump presidency, if this happened 13, 14, 15, 16 days from now, and he threatened to withhold whatever federal aid that you can almost guarantee the Biden administration will give California. You know what I mean? How quickly could this be reality when he gets into office? And I apologize if I think what's going on is it's like extremely friggin' windy outside and cold. It says it's 22 degrees, but I think the feels like with the wind chill is about -3 or -4. And it's really, really fucking windy. So I don't think the internet, hopefully it plays ball. But we might have some glitches here and there. So bear with me. I do appreciate it. But again, like I said, you know, some people can say, oh, you're being hyperbolic. You would never, but in how many days are we going to get to find this out? Where he could all of a sudden say, okay, you know what? You want federal aid? You want aid to fight these fires? Well, you're going to have to sign this saying you're going to get all illegal immigrants out of California by the state and under your funding. You know, California has to pay for it. I mean, who knows what he holds over his head? But I'm just saying it could very easily be a situation where thousands of homes are on fire and California doesn't have the funding because they won't commit to do something fascist or authoritarian or racist or bigoted to the people of California. So what's happening, guys? Yeah, I know. I think everybody's having problems all over this, throughout the Midwest is having the issues with the snow and the ice and stuff, and we got the cold and the wind, and then obviously California is dealing with it. So all over the place. But yeah, so let me see if I can hop right into this is at least something we can smile about, at least. Some fuck around and find out news. All right, stop playing. Share this tab instead. All right, this is I believe her name is Victoria, right? And she's mad because she just happened to find herself on the steps of the Capitol on January 6th, 2021, and she just so happened to be in the hallway where all the shoving and pushing was going on, where Brian Sicknick, I believe, and Fanone were both being crushed in that hallway, where they're yelling "heave ho" and people being crushed, and the mayhem was going on. She thinks that she's entitled. She said she got beat up by the police and not the people in her own crowd, right? But as we'll see on video, it looks to me like she may have gotten the worst of it from the people in her own crowd. So let's take a look at what Victoria has to say for herself.
Watch that video back with us and with the viewers in this moment on this day, January 6th, and what goes through your mind?
Wow, a lot of things. I actually, in the video, it shows me.
So if you can see here, right, she's the one in the highlight. It looks like she's trying to pull people off the window, like, so they're trying to hail her as some, like, I don't know, hero of the day, when for all we know she could have been saying, oh, no, not that window. Let's do this window over here. No, don't go to that window. It's way too fucking high. You're gonna get hurt. You guys are gonna get hurt. Hey, don't get hurt on that window. We got a door. Somebody already broke a window way over here. Who knows what the fuck she's yelling, right? But this is what they're going to try to hail her as, some hero. Check this out.
Me stopping both men physically and the little guy and throwing him down. And then the second guy comes up. I grab his bag there. Other people pull me off of him.
I'm sorry. Are you saying by these people, do you mean Trump supporters? You mean angry, drunk, in some cases, armed in some cases, with mace and bear spray and fucking clubs and in fucking riot gear, looking like they're going to play football for the fucking New England Patriots? You talking about the people that you walked down to the Capitol with? Those people kicking your ass right now?
It's just, and those two have never been charged, never been found.
Oh, wait, so you want more charges? Is that what I'm getting out of Victoria White? Is that what I'm getting on Newsmax? Is that they want more charges brought up on January 6th defendants? Is that is that what I'm getting out of this? You'd like more justice and judicial action taken to the people that were there on January 6th? That's what I'm getting from this, at least. So
it's just really weird. Yeah. And then I was beat by officers that day, and yet I was charged.
And it's funny, I don't know if they have video of that. We have the video you being assaulted by the people that you walked down there with. We have that video. Let's see if they play the video of her being assaulted by the police officers.
I think we have that video footage.
Oh, okay. How much you want to bet?
You can play that now, show it to our viewers here. And again, it must...
Yes, she is, right? Yeah, she is, obviously. Yep. And they're all like, what the fuck is this lady's problem? Like, knock.
Could be difficult for you to go through that again. There's the still images. Can you walk us through what?
The still images? You said video. You said you had video of her being assaulted by Capitol police officers. But that's a still image of you looking bloodied and beaten afterwards.
What was happening?
So what could be happening is these Capitol police officers could be actually saving your life from the mob that was beating you.
Here?
That's after I was beat in this tunnel. And
In the tunnel. Now, remind me again, what do you mean by the tunnel?
they had zip tied me and took me into the Capitol with no shoes. My shoes had fallen off, no coats. My hat had fell off.
Wow. Yeah, you know, this
Now, guys, if you'll do me a favor and look to the left side of your screen here, and I'll even make this how do I make it a little bigger for you guys? Let me see if I can do why do these things change every time? Oh, here we go. Let's just do this one. Now, if you look to the left of your screen there, you'll notice what they're showing is the tunnel leading into the Capitol, in which, like I was saying, all that video came from, with the heave and the hoe and the push and the shoving and the officers being crushed. This is where the officer just outside was pulled out and beaten just on those steps outside there. So where some of the worst offenders, I'm sure, especially as far as charges are concerned, found themselves. How she found herself in that situation, I don't know. She must have been, what, looking for help, right? She was looking for the bathroom, guys. There was a restroom somewhere around there. You can almost guarantee it. That's not it, but that is.
it's been 4 years since this. I understand. Is that correct?
Now you'll see also that what's going on the left there is you can't see, right? So this is their video evidence, the justification for her saying that she was beat by police officers and not just roughed up in this huge mob of people inside a fucking concrete archway. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, it doesn't take much of a fucking genius to think that maybe if you found yourself in that position with all those people pushed up against each other in a concrete fucking embankment, basically, you know, in a bunker situation, you're gonna get crushed. So maybe they did you a favor. Maybe they did you a favor and they pulled you out. Maybe it has nothing to do with police officers beating you. They're literally showing a situation with January 6th rioters are beating police officers. On the left side of your screen, there is what you're looking at. That's them beating police officers, literally fucking squishing police officers, trying to squish them to friggin' death inside that hallway there. Yet they're gonna try to highlight a lady you can't fucking see and say that it's the police officers there assaulting her. Oh, what's up, Sparkies? What's up? What's happening, guys? I'm done bleeding. Felt like I was catching strays over there. Tell them I said thank you very much. I appreciate it. This episode brought to you by Halsbox Mega Worldwide. As I said earlier, I apologize for breaking my contractual obligation of saying Halsbox at least 4 times every single episode of Blood Politics. So yes, this episode is officially brought to you by Halsbox Mega Worldwide. And no, I don't know what the fuck James Carville has anything to do with me, but I'm sure I'll find out. But yes, we're just checking in on a fuck around and find out moment. We did check out earlier a little bit about the fires going on in the Los Angeles area and the devastation scene around then. So again, if you're just joining us, you know, please join us in sending our prayers and our best wishes to anybody affected in that area, and to anybody that hasn't been, best wishes on having that fucking wind shift or the road stop it or whatever the fuck needs to happen in order for you to save your livelihood. I hope it does happen. So anybody in that area too. But yes, please, if you're just hopping in, hit that like button, share it out, make sure people know you're here. I appreciate it. It's the weekday show. It's the weekday show. A little more laid back. Obviously, I don't have my I don't have the jacket on. We're back in action, baby. We're back in action. So yeah, so just a little wrap up for everybody who's joining us. This is fuck it, I don't remember her name and it's really not important. But what she's trying to say is that she was assaulted by Capitol police officers and not the people that were actually on video antagonistically pushing her, shoving her, pulling her around. And then what Newsmax is trying to show you here on the left side of your screen is her inside that archway, in which I believe the police officer, the Capitol police officer, was dragged out of there. I believe it was Fanone, correct? Was dragged out of there into the crowd, beaten. And luckily, one or two of them were brave enough to step up and help him in the midst of him screaming for his kids and his wife. So this lady finds herself in this situation. You can see her on the right there, circled. She looks a little beaten, a little bruised. She said she lost a hat in her shoes and shit, but you can almost see that happening in a mob riot situation in between two concrete walls. Correct? I'm just spitballing here. So yeah, let's see what else she's got to say here.
Correct. When we reported you are indeed suing for the
Correct.
injuries.
Yes.
She's suing. She's got the balls. Pardon my use of that phrase, but she has the cojones to turn around and somehow justify suing the Capitol police officers for assault. I mean, yes, get the fuck out of here. I mean, you hop in the mosh pit, you suffer the consequences, basically. Like I said before, I can almost guarantee the Capitol police officers in this situation did her a fucking massive favor by pulling her out of that crowd. Because she was either A, trying to get people not to go into the Capitol, which the people around her did not care for very much, or she got hurt in this video in which Newsmax is somehow fucking ridiculously playing as evidence of the Capitol police beating her.
Yes, correct.
And now you have this time to reflect. And well, let me go back to this. What were you charged with? I don't think we broke that down yet.
Yeah, will you break that down with us? I'm sure it was something like, I don't know, something stupid like, I don't know, maybe trespassing on, government grounds that are closed. I'm sure just something that I'm sure is one thing, right?
Initially, I was charged with 6 different charges.
Six, huh? 6. 6 doesn't sound like somebody that just kind of went in for a stroll, if you ask me.
I was indicted on 4.
Actually indicted on 4. So 4. So hit me with them. What are they?
After 3 years of trying to defend myself legally, with
yes. So for those just joining us and haven't seen it, that's her obviously being highlighted, seemingly trying to get, I don't know, the people there not to go in through that exact window, but maybe to the window to the left. And then you can see how she's being treated by the MAGA supporters that are supposed to be her brethren.
with different attorneys. I just ended up taking a
Clearly screaming at her. This guy in the orange backpack is like, get the fuck out of the way, ma'am. I got a date with that window with Destiny right now.
plea to the civil disorder.
The lady behind her, blonde lady behind her, is trying to like punch. Like they're obviously antagonizing her, right? Like doesn't seem like a friendly interaction.
Victoria, I'm wondering, and it's an interesting chance to be able to speak with someone who was there that day.
It is. And somebody that has the fucking arrogance to not only, but file this lawsuit, but to actually show her fucking face on camera again. That is just wild to me, and it's an honor and a privilege to get this chance to interview somebody so stupid, somebody brave enough and brave enough. Like get the fuck out of here. I fucking hope that thing goes absolutely nowhere. I mean, literally, when you're showing your fucking evidence is like the most egregious part of January 6th that people remember, with the heave ho and the fucking push and their, you know what I mean? Like, if anything sticks out in people's minds as a specific situation that day, I think one would be able to point to that. Or again, where the Capitol police officer was pulled out from the ranks and pulled into the crowd. So fuck that. So she can pound sand on that one, Victoria. I hope you spend a lot of money in court, my sister, and I hope you lose. So yeah. It says hell. Well, tell him I said hi back. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit the like button. But yeah, we got so much I want to talk about. Unfortunately, I think there was something like almost 20 things that I flagged. So what do I want to get into next? Let's see here. We did Oh, that's what I want to do. So this is probably good to play after that fuck around and find out moment. So let me play this. This tab instead. I'm gonna stop this. Slow down. No, you pause, and I'm asking you to stop. Thank you. Gee, good Lord. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing almost. All right, let me play this one. I'm gonna share this one instead, and hopefully this does what I'm supposed to do. There you go. How you doing? This is Chris Murphy, right? Senator Chris Murphy. And I feel like this is really good to play after Victoria's fuck around and find out moment, again on Newsmax. I mean, I feel like, we went, January 6th came and it went, and, Democrats did what they were supposed to do by certifying the election. But we also should have used that moment more to our advantage, I believe, in trying to overcome what is the undeniably short attention span of the people in this country by reminding them of the things they saw 4 years ago on January 6th. Like, okay, this is like, it was a big deal in the media. This is why it was a big deal in the media, because had Kamala Harris won, you can guarantee the halls of this place right now would look a lot different. And if it wasn't filled with MAGA supporters in fucking riot gear, it would be filled with Capitol police officers ready for something to happen, right? Or if, why more Democrats, in my opinion, didn't use this opportunity to say, yes, this is what we're supposed to be doing, and we're going to do our fucking duty. But this is why it's something that's big. This is why just doing our duty is a big fucking deal, because this is what happens when you don't do your fucking duty. So this is Chris. Let's see what Chris had to do with his time in front of the camera.
So this is the U.S. Capitol. About an hour before we are going to certify the election results, January 6th, 2025. It is quiet. Do not take that for granted. It's only quiet because there is one party in America right now that cares about democracy and observes the peaceful transition of power. If Kamala Harris had won this election, this Capitol right now would likely be a bloodbath, because the Republican Party continues to endorse and celebrate violence as a means of maintaining political power. Donald Trump is, as we speak, preparing to pardon many of the January 6 rioters, the people who were here beating Capitol police officers over the head with flagpoles. Donald Trump is getting ready to jail his political.
I mean, pretty straightforward. It doesn't take much. He's got a single camera in the hallway, and maybe there are more like this that I just haven't seen. But again, for this to be played on even a site like Forbes, which this Forbes that this is on is heavily leans right wing in the positions they take and the headlines they put out and the clips they put out, at least on the YouTube. So I'd like to see a lot more of these get out. And again, credit where credit is due to Chris Murphy here for having the wherewithal politically to be like, maybe I should also take this opportunity while we're doing our job to remind the American people of why it's such an incredible thing to see people just doing their job. You know what I mean? Let's see. I think he goes on for a little more here too.
Political opponents to try to suppress and destroy political dissent. I am sad that my party lost this election, but I am here today to certify the election of Donald Trump as president of the United States, because I care more about my democracy than I do about my party winning elections. The same cannot be said today of the Republican Party and of my Republican colleagues. And so while today is peaceful, it is quiet here, do not take that for granted. Do not take that as a sign that our democracy is healthy. Our democracy is in peril. It is at risk.
Pretty straightforward. Nothing overly aggressive. Just a message to say, listen, don't forget what the fuck happened. That's all. That's all. Because again, I don't think it's a big secret that the people in this country have a short attention span. And if, I feel at least if a lot of these people that cast their vote for Donald Trump this time, if they just remembered a quarter of the shit that you or I remember about him, the slimy, grimy, ridiculously disgusting, and illegal things that he's done, not only over his lifetime, but in his days as a politician. I don't believe they could in good conscience cast their vote for the man. So obviously something is overriding that thought or the memory they have of the shit that we went through the first time. We just got to make sure that we try to pound our message and be loud and be proud and try to, again, get people to remember why the fuck that there's only so many parties in this country that are willing to work for the people, and instead of billionaires. As we'll see later on in the show, what it means when billionaires continue to kiss the ass and kiss the ring and lick the boot and smell the butthole of Donald Trump and MAGA, with people like Tim Cook and fucking Zuckerberg and Elon and who else? People going down to Mar-a-Lago dumping $1 million checks at his lap. Please, sir, please give me freedom for the next 4 years. That's all I ask. And then Zuckerberg taking it a step further with his little message he put out. What was it, yesterday or the day before? Just absolutely dropping all, taking the mask completely off, basically. Saying he's basically going to set Facebook up now for the likes of people that love being transphobic and caring about pronouns, and that as long as you're making fun of people like that, he's not going to go after you. Basically shitting on his own artificial intelligence systems and the systems he put in place, like fact checking, in order to promote this new system he has that is going to be more beneficial to people on the right and to people like Donald Trump going forward, especially in an election year, after he had just clamped down so hard on political content on his platforms. To do a complete 180 now, to be like, well, yeah, I get it's okay as long as if too many people don't report it, we're not going to do anything about it. You know what I mean? Is basically the the stance that he's taken now. So thank you to Chris Murphy for putting out that message again. I don't think it's too hard for people to take a minute and 30 seconds, for Christ's sakes. A minute and 30 seconds. All right, let's not let these pile up. Let's not let these pile up. Which one's this one? Which one's that one? Oh, I did that one already. I did that one. Obviously, I don't know if the people that just joined us were here when I played. I reminded you guys of Donald Trump saying that he wouldn't give aid to California to fight wildfires if Gavin Newsom didn't sign a certain bill or, didn't dance the little dance that Donald Trump wanted him to dance. And how dangerous that statement now is, or the reality of how dangerous that statement is or was when he made it. Just think if we would, if this was a month from now and these fires were going on and Donald Trump decided to use the leverage he had to say, you know what? No, Gavin, I am not going to give you the aid you need for the people, all these people that are now displaced, unless you, again, sign this saying that you guarantee that you'll kick every single Spanish person or immigrant that we deem to be illegal in our eyes out of the state of California. What do you do then? So that's how dangerous it could be. That's how dangerous it could be. All right, let me get back here. So we did Chris Murphy. That was pretty good. Now we get into Dave Rubles. Let's get you want to guys get into a little Dave Rubles. These are some pretty good moments, and I'm not even sure the show he's on. So forgive me if it's like a famous show and I'm like the only asshole that doesn't know what show it is. But there's a few clips here that were posted that I'd love to go over with you guys, if you shall allow me. If I can get to the first one, I think this is the first one. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to come over this way because I got to represent it to you guys. I'm going to do this one, share. Add to the stage. How's that? No, I hate that one. I don't like that one. I like that one. All right. So I'm going to make this bigger. This is Dave Rubin on some show with two guys, I guess. And again, if I'm the only asshole that doesn't know who they are, I do apologize, but there's only so much of this I can consume. So let's take a listen to what Dave Rubin was talking about. Excuse me, rubles.
Speaking of that, a lot of people are going towards deregulation at this point, and they're thinking that's going to be better for our economy, better for the average person. Where do you think that deregulation could actually hurt people?
I mean, I'm a big deregulation guy, so I would try.
Big deregulation guy. Big deregulation guy. Says a lot of people that know a lot about deregulation, right? Let's see how intricate he gets into these deregulations.
To deregulate as much as possible. We were talking right before we started. I mean, both of us left LA. Like LA, to do anything, to start a new.
Yeah, we should just deregulate LA. Just the whole thing. Just no regulations. All of it's out the window. Libertarianism is in effect. Like, again, right off the bat, absolute fucking nonsense out of his mouth.
New business, or build a studio in your home, or literally do landscaping outside of your house, or anything. There's an obscene amount of regulations and rules. And
right, there is. I mean, the landscaping one, that guarantee that he loves, that says you probably can't use a lawnmower or a fucking leaf blower or one of those backpack fucking blowers right before, so early in the morning on a Saturday or a Sunday. I'm sure we have some of those codes around here too, right? Or, if you're building a new house, I mean, why the hell would anybody want to regulate how that's built? It's not like anybody else might live in that after you and might have to suffer the consequences of the shoddy fucking work that isn't up to fucking building code. I mean, who wants that regulated? In the water you're drinking out of that pit in the back? Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about the guy that had a dog that shit in that yard and pissed in that yard for the last fucking 35 years before you guys moved in. I'm sure that water's good. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's good.
All these things that you have to pay and all of this stuff. So where could deregulation hurt as it pertains to tech specifically?
Or just the average person? For any industry, like, what do you think is going to get impacted by that the worst?
I'm not really worried. Like, will there be some?
I love the stances this guy takes, right? I mean, it takes a lot for a guy that so-called left the left to, befriend people that wouldn't fucking piss on him if he was on fire in Los Angeles right now. They just wouldn't. I mean, Ben Shapiro has already stated he wouldn't go to his fucking wedding. He wants nothing really much to do with Dave Rubin. Doesn't really care. They don't acknowledge the fact that he has adopted kids with his husband. Like, the people that don't give a fuck about him, right? But, he's principled. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Something down the pike that they'll figure. I don't know, if you had no building codes, I think there's probably ways you could privatize a lot of that stuff, or at least.
I'm sorry. I said that as a joke. Are you honestly advocating for no building codes? Is that something people are advocating for? Have I missed that on the political debate stage? The people debating whether the building codes at all should be, like, what the fuck? When's that become a thing?
Make it a little more local focused than federally focused. I'm actually not worried about that at all. Like, I'm sure there is something right there. Clearly they will do something and there will be unintended consequences. I think it's all a risk worth taking right now. Like, to me, if you just deleted, as Vivek said, if you just deleted the Department of Education tomorrow, we'll see what happens on the other side.
Yeah, that's a risk worth taking right now, because clearly Dave Rubin is proven to us that the education system in this country is clearly at a point where we've maxed out. We've completely peaked with Dave Rubin, and who needs the Department of Education anymore? Really, you know what I mean? Once we get to this level, we can teach ourselves, people. We just teach ourselves how to do things. If you have a question, ask me. Ask me, the man that the Kremlin wanted to have spew their bullshit. Like, what the fuck? On this fucking bullshit. People actually listen to this too.
Side, and I'm
not mean these two to having him on. I mean Dave Rubin show himself.
You think it's going to be a hell of a. Well,
just put it
you can
back.
just
You know what? I probably should have noticed that sign that said the iced coffee hour with Graham and Jack before. Probably something I should have noticed. I was so focused on the, on the people speaking, I didn't see that. So, to the iced coffee hour with Graham and Jack, been a huge fan for a long time now. Long time listener, first time streamer, watcher.
yeah, I mean, you can because it's a giant building and those people will need jobs. But you know what? It's not going to be. That's the thing. That's the thing. None of these agencies are doing what they set out to do. The EPA was basically set out to kind of keep an eye on companies that were dumping sewage into the water. But
yeah, they were just meant to keep an eye on them, like follow the truck out there a little bit and be like, hey, what Jim put in the truck this week? What's he dumping out there? What's he dumping out there? They were just meant to follow them, really. They would just kind of give a holler if you see anything. If you see them dumping anywhere they should, just give a holler. That's pretty much all they were. And if anybody heard them, they were supposed to go, hey, did you hear that holler? EPA's hollering. Must be somebody dumping. Maybe you should stop it. Like, what the fuck? Is he seriously?
But it basically became a law writing agency.
Yeah, just the laws against dumping shit, like against dumping illegal chemicals into, say water sources, I don't know, fucking people's backyards, I don't know, fucking on people's farms, in little creeks and streams and shit, you know what I mean? That the laws, because otherwise there'd be no way to enforce that. The EPA would just be saying, hey, don't do that. You can't do that. And the companies would be like, okay, fuck you. If there's no laws, what the fuck is the point? Or as Donald Trump would say, laws. You got to have laws.
So these things have become way too
thank
big. They have way too much power.
Appreciate
And
you, Chris.
I think
Thank
if
you,
you
brother.
eliminated virtually all of them, I mean, their goal is to eliminate about 300 of them. But if
like any 300, just the first 300, he wants to eliminate all of them, which is fucking lunacy. Just abject and outright fucking lunacy to eliminate all regulations. I mean, he literally he spit one out, a good one right there that probably should be one that should stay in the books. The fact that, corporations can't dump their fucking, hazardous waste into, I don't know, say rivers and streams and oceans and shit. Can we keep that one at least, Dave? Just that one. I mean, it's almost like the Russians would be happy with the message that you're sending, that we should just cut all the regulation, which would inevitably lead to polluted water sources, which would inevitably lead to like diseases and infections throughout the people, which would cause for a weaker American people, which would then lead to a weaker military. I can see where Russia was getting their money's worth, Dave. I can see where Tenet Media they were right on coming after you, brother.
But if you eliminated virtually all of them, then what would happen? Well, most policies would be kicked back to the states, which is exactly what the founders intended. And I think that for the most part, I live in Miami. I want most of the things that I have to deal with.
I live in Miami. Bienvenido a Miami. Jesus.
In my life to be dealt with in Miami, and then from there, Florida, and then the stuff that we all have to.
Look here, I just took the words out of my mouth. Fucking brutal. Fucking brutal. I live in Miami.
Deal with, say, the border, that should be dealt with the federal government. But the less agencies and middlemen, I mean, this is what Trump,
Why, you don't think Florida should have any border say with that big border that they have with the big border they have with Mexico? You don't think Florida should have any border say?
he started the thing about the deep state.
It's fucking Dave. Never fails. All right, let's see if I can. How do I get out of this one? Because I think I got to scroll up, right? Here's our next one. Here's our next victim.
But most things, see, the thing is, capitalism, the beauty of capitalism is that someone's always trying to make a better mousetrap. So if you're a company that it is exposed.
Yes, by exploiting the youngest labor they possibly can at the cheapest cost they possibly can, using the shoddiest materials they possibly can. No, that's just how they do things today. That's just how people do things today. I'm sorry.
To be doing horrible things. And this is also the beauty of the internet, by the way, because now we can expose things a lot quicker because we all have phones and we all have cameras and all of these things. It's like,
so he's saying we shouldn't have regulations. Hold on. Look, I'm getting this right because this is supposed to be an order. So he's saying that we shouldn't have regulations because people have fucking iPhones. So like if there's no, so like people are just gonna take pictures of shit and post them, like that's what it's gonna be on. It's gonna be on the people in the companies to risk their job and film something and then post it and hope it goes viral and then a lot of people notice and then maybe a week or two later we stop it or something. Is that what I'm getting out of this? Like, is he saying that, like, the fact that somebody has a camera in their pocket, we just don't need any laws or regulations anymore because, like, the court of public opinion will adjudicate this? I don't know. I struggled because I try to make too much sense of what these idiots say, and I should just make fun of it. But at some point, I feel like I'm the idiot because I don't understand it. But
it's like if you're a company,
it's not me.
And whatever you're making glasses, and it turns out that actually you're dumping a ton of toxic sludge into the water or into whatever, into the fields behind you, and there's schools there. It's like that will now be exposed very quickly, and there will be more competition for that.
Because I remember a while ago, there's that big oil spill. I think it was like 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who was like, oh, that company had that big oil spill, but they're 5 cents cheaper. I'm not going to go there.
Sure,
they just look at the price.
Right. A good point from either Graham or Zach. Jack, one of the two guys made a good point on that one. You know, a lot of people don't think of it that way. You know, I mean, when the Exxon fucking Valdez split apart, people were like, fucking dang. But inevitably, people didn't stop Exxon from existing as a as a source of the shit. You know what I mean?
Price, you're like, all right, well, it's cheaper. That oil spill, I didn't see it.
Right.
You know,
well,
it's
always tricky to get people to care about things that aren't happening in their backyard.
Yes.
Right. Right. When it happens in your backyard, then it's like not in my backyard. And then suddenly you're screaming about it. But if it happens miles away, you don't realize all the reasons that.
No, isn't that the Anna Kasparian take that she's had lately? Isn't that the Anna Kasparian take? Like, it's happening in my backyard. You wouldn't understand it.
That it will potentially affect you or anything else. I think the world's changing. I think the world is changing in massive ways, and it's deep. It's definitely connected to what we're talking about with Twitter and YouTube and everything else. It's like the media used to just control that Overton window in such a tight way that the stories that we would see were so slim in nature and leaving out so much. And now it's like if there's an oil spill and something really terrible is happening, it's going to be covered in new media in a completely new way, and it will get out there more. Can you force people to care about it enough?
We're not talking about that. We're talking about holding the company and the corporation accountable for having, I don't know, either a shoddy fucking ship or a ship that hadn't been maintained properly that broke apart, or a captain that was drunk behind the wheel or something like that. You know, so they put more regulations in place to make sure that doesn't happen, or make it more strict punishment to make sure that a captain really has to be fucking thinking about it in order to get behind the wheel of a ship, you know, to get in the fucking wheelhouse of a ship drunk or impaired in any way, right? The point isn't getting out on social media. It's how can we hold these companies accountable for the damage that they caused, and to make sure that other companies in the future will hold their people accountable and make sure that this is not something that can happen in the future, or at least, you know, the percentages are taken down to a certain point that are acceptable to, you know, the public and business.
So that there are different regulations, maybe.
Did somebody just say Anna Asparagus?
But, you know, the Exxon Valdez was a horrific. The Exxon Valdez was a horrific.
Right. Exactly. Right. But what he's talking about is the fact that just because you're hearing about it is enough, I guess, and that like the reaction by the public is going to be to not get that, would be to not get, you know what I'm saying? So instead of having laws in the EPA in place to write legislation and regulation and laws to make sure that this shit is taken seriously. Like I said, again, making sure that these companies don't put people that aren't qualified to run the ships in place, and making sure they're using ships that are maintained properly and not of shoddy fucking condition where they're going to break apart like a Russian oil tanker. That's the whole fucking point, which Dave doesn't seem to understand.
Horrific oil spill. We have regulations against oil spills. The captain, I think, was drunk and fell asleep. Like, there's no system that's perfect. So I would personally, I would just be reining in all of that.
Yeah. Right. But if the fine on the company was heavy enough, or the penalty on the CEO was heavy enough, you can be damn sure that company going forward would make sure that their captains were the fucking best captains, or their ships were the fucking best ships, or at least the best maintained ships, which would then make their fucking whole business safer, which would then in turn, if that caught into other companies, would make that whole industry safer, thus making us safer and the environment safer. Not that fucking difficult, you know what I mean, to see where regulation can be used in a good way against companies and corporations to make sure that they're not fucking polluting the citizens that are buying their goods in the fucking first place.
And then you have to hope that enough good competition is out there so that companies will do better.
Okay. I think there's a couple more of these too, because I'm loving these. Fuck, now I forget which one I was on. I think it's this one now.
Number
I
would
skip
be,
one, I
so,
think it matters.
you could say maybe it's 12 or 15%. Everybody pays it.
Sorry.
We could pick what the number would be. So, you could say maybe it's 12 or 15%. Everybody pays it. And then to throw the lefties a bone. I don't know that this is moral or ethical or even financially sensible, but just to try to get something passed that you could get more people on board, maybe you exempt everybody under 50 grand. And then maybe if you're making, over a couple mil a year, it ticks up a tiny percentage. But that basically, you get like
Are there deductions or anything too, or is it just gross?
I mean, the idea of a flat tax is you're going to eliminate all of that.
I was going to say, I think we skipped the video, which I don't really give a shit about because it's not ultimately that important what the guy's saying, but I think they've moved on to a tax conversation. So let's see what he has to say about tax. I think he's advocating for a flat tax, which is ridiculous and would just be something that would hurt the lower class more and would help the billionaires and higher class more in the long run. So just fucking horseshit nonsense.
And you'll have a
one-page
tax code. Well, no, you'll have deductions, okay. but you'll get rid of all of the other craziness, right? You're gonna have a one-page tax code with virtually no loopholes, and that's it. To me, that would be a great way to do it.
Yeah. I can. Yeah. I got you. But I was just gonna say, he wants a one-page tax code, right? With no loopholes. Imagine the amount of fucking loopholes there would have to be for the tax code to be one page, right? Imagine it would be nothing but loopholes. That's the only thing. It would be a few words. The rest would be loopholes. That's fucking it.
To do it. A consumption tax makes a lot of sense though. Like, I really like the idea of if you could actually get rid of the income tax altogether. Okay, the government still needs some money to operate, even post Elon Vivek.
Oh, you think? Thanks. Appreciate that. So generous of you to say that the government needs a little bit to work their magic on. You know what I mean?
Crushing these agencies and all of the things. The government still does need money. So unless you want to be like total ANCAP about this, which I'm not,
anti-capitalist.
I like it intellectually, but like, I don't think we can fully operate that way in a country of 350 million people. I would say the consumption tax is a great idea. The more stuff that you buy and the more money that you spend, you'll be taxed on that money. People are always going to buy things and they're always going to want things and need things.
Yeah, in turn, it's going to feel like it's, again, more of a tax on the middle and lower class than it is on the higher, the upper class and the 1%. So,
and in that sense, if you have a lot, it's not exactly that you're paying more in, but
but again, Dave Rubels, what did he make? Again, what was it? $5 million he made? Yeah, $5. Yeah. What was it? 5 mil, or was that Tim Pool? I get it mixed up now. All these Russian assets, they're all they all sound alike at some point.
there's a well, I suppose you are paying more in, but it's more voluntary in that sense, rather than, oh, you make this much and we're taking 39.7% of it, and that's that. We could pick what the number would be, so you could
zip it. All right, I think there's maybe one more of these. Let me see, 135, maybe two more of these. Let's see what this one is. I love how stupid these people are, and how it's amazing. It still amazes me that they have the amount of people listen to their shows that they do, and it's just clearly so easily pointed out bullshit. You know what I mean?
Is going to do this. If you can create a situation where other countries feel that they can't just rip off America anymore, that ultimately they will lower tariffs too. It's actually insane. We make some pretty good cars in America. We didn't, 50 years ago, but we do now, actually. It's why can't we sell them in Europe? It's because of the tariff.
No. Again, the fact that people don't understand this is crazy. Has anybody ever, the people in the chat, let me see, people that are in the chat that have been to Europe, throw a hand up. Give me a hand up or that are in Europe currently. Throw a hand up, please. I'm dying to know this. Anybody that's either been to Europe in any fashion or is currently in Europe right now, throw a hand up in the chat. I'll wait. Go ahead. All right, here's a few. Let me ask you, how feasible is a Ford, say, I don't know, F-350 or an F-250 or even F-150 on the roads of, say, I don't know, London or fucking, I don't know, insert any European city? Do you think there's not a reason why Europeans don't buy American cars in bulk, in large numbers, or at all? Yeah, probably because the fucking roads are made for His Majesty's fucking horse and carriage only. Still, you know what I mean? Sorry, I put the wrong one, but that's funny too. This one, you know what I mean? There's a reason that they make different, like hatchbacks are so fucking popular around there. You know what I mean? And smaller SUVs, and the pickup trucks that they do have are usually like the mini ones that we see here. That's about as big as they get over there. The fucking roads are so goddamn small, especially in the cities and these places. Out in the farm areas, it's a little bit easier, but still, if you're going into town and shit in some of these little farm areas too, the little fucking town areas ain't built for fucking F-250s, 350s, Dodge Rams, especially on a fucking a big level, on a high level. It's ridiculous to think that would fucking the reason they don't like it is because they just don't like our cars. No. You ever seen Top Gear? They like them. It's not feasible. In certain aspects, in certain situations, yes. Not only that, but they're expensive. They're expensive to get back over there, I would assume. Especially if you buy it here.
The tariffs. So you threaten them, basically say, hey, we're going to do to you what you've been doing to us. And then they might just come around. Is going to do this. If you can create a situation where other countries feel.
Well, yeah, the petrol too. The cost of the petrol. I mean, just think of how much petrol it would take to keep a fucking F-350 running over there. Right? Let's see. I think
how do you really get down to the facts?
It
seems like you watch Fox, and when you're watching media like that, how do you know what's truthful and what's not? How do you really get down to the facts? It seems like you watch Fox, and they're like, this is right.
Yeah.
You watch MSNBC, and they say this is right.
Well, I would largely
like this is right.
Yeah. It's almost impossible, but I would say
I'm dying to get his take on the media, right? Because if anybody's take on the media is, something that we should really be on fucking pins and needles waiting for, it's fucking Dave Rubin's.
say if you have just like a little bit of skepticism with most things, you won't fall for most of it. So I'm very, very proud of my track record on.
We'd all be screwed. Are you kidding me? We have enough deadly weapons in this country without having people doing 150, 160, 180 regularly on the highway. I know that.
On most of the issues. I didn't fall for the Russia hoax. I didn't fall for the very fine people hoax. I didn't.
By the see again, I'm not going to go about calling this out, but he should have fallen for it, because he would have been right if he did fall for it, which means he wouldn't have fallen for it. He would have been right, is all I'm saying.
Fall for the COVID nonsense or some of the other things that I'm.
COVID nonsense, that nonsense that killed over 1 million people. You know, how normal people, everyday people, just nonchalantly call that nonsense. Really, that anything that kills over 1 million people, no matter what it is, how you could refer to it as nonsense is beyond me.
That I mentioned when you remember the Jesse Smollett story, it was like somehow, why is it that AOC and Kamala within 5 minutes had both tweeted this proves white supremacy in America and black people are under assault and everything else, and the entire thing turned out to be a hoax. And yet when I saw the story come across, I was like, I don't know, something seems a little fishy about this. This seems a little bizarre. They found him in the Subway sandwich and there was a noose and they yelled, "This is Trump country." I was like, I don't know, this just doesn't sound right. So I think just going in with a little bit of skepticism is probably your best armor against the bullshit.
How has
that's hilarious to me that Dave Rubin is telling you should go in with some sort of skepticism, considering he was the one that got duped by Tenet Media into thinking he was getting some fucking big donations from some French benefactor, when in reality it was the fucking money coming straight from the Kremlin to push their propaganda, right? But be skeptical. You should be skeptical. I'm not so much going to be skeptical. I'll just take any fucking funding. Doesn't matter. Any billionaire who comes along, I don't really have to dig too deep into it. But you guys should be skeptical. You, my friend, should be skeptical. Me? No, I'm good. I'll take it.
As the whole Tenet Media thing shifted your perspective on how you approach just information or what you're told, or
it's amazing they can say that with a straight face after he just said you should be skeptical. It's really impressive to me that they're keeping a straight face,
coming to your own conclusions on things.
You know, I did a 10-minute or 15-minute interview with Megyn Kelly about it, and I basically said that was the last time I'm going to talk about it.
Okay,
but I would give you like 30 seconds of.
Yeah, totally something a guy with nothing to hide says. About 30 seconds is the max you'll get from me, because after that, I'm afraid I might, divulge something that I probably shouldn't, which would incriminate me even further. So yeah, I'm gonna maybe 30 seconds, 25 maybe. Is 25 good? Because I did this whole thing with Megyn Kelly already, in which I dodged every single one of those questions too.
Of Lauren Chen, who is running Tenet, I've known her for a decade. I talked to Tim Pool about it and Benny.
Amazing. And you weren't skeptical of somebody that you knew for a decade. Are you skeptical moving forward that somebody that you knew for a decade could have fucked you over like that? Could have lied to you like that? Or did you know? You know what?
Benny Johnson and some of the other guys. And I asked for more information about who the backers are. I spoke to someone on Zoom who it's unclear who I spoke to, but that was through Lauren. And I would say you just need to be as skeptical. It's actually the exact same answer I just gave you. You should be.
But you asked for those things, and you don't find yourself to be an asshole now that you were duped by such shoddy information. Remember we showed on the show the little flyer that they sent in return of the guy in the fucking jet looking like a businessman, and like the little generic AI readouts that they put out on it. Like, he must at some point feel like an asshole, right? He's gotta. But clearly he wasn't skeptical enough. I think that's easy to prove.
You should be as skeptical even when you know someone for a decade. and you ask for information, and you ask for resumes, and you speak to someone that you might be told is a benefactor or anything else, you should just be as skeptical as possible. But I will also say, in no way did that affect my content at all, period, zero, nor was I asked to, which was the bizarre part of it. But I would...
Again, he says it right there. He literally just says it right there. It was bizarre to him that man, it's bizarre to me that you're going to give me all this money and I don't have to change my content or do anything extra or say a product name or the company's name even, really? You're just going to pay me to do the exact same shit that I've been doing this whole time? Yeah, okay. That doesn't seem weird to me, right? That seems like like it's totally above board. Totally.
I would rather leave it at that.
All right. I think there is one more, but I don't know if I can go on with that one. It's the last one, so fuck it. We'll do it. Last one. Might as well round it out.
Resume. And I did ask to speak to somebody, and I did make sure they'd have no control over my content and a series of other things. So it was very bizarre to suddenly be in a controversy where I was like, oh, the thing I'm being accused, I'm not even being accused of anything. I'm the victim in this thing, and the DOJ is doing the right thing.
Yeah,
that was like the craziest part for me.
The thing, people are going to see the amount of money you're getting paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in this contract, and they're just going to be like, you can't be a victim while you're making that amount of money at the same time. That I feel like,
I'm not saying I'm a victim. First, a victim was their word.
Didn't he literally just say I was the victim? Am I crazy in this one? I'll play this one more time.
I did ask who the backer is, and I did ask for a resume, and I did ask to speak to somebody, and I did make sure they'd have no control over my content and a series of other things. So it was very bizarre to suddenly be in a controversy where I was like, oh, the thing I'm being accused, I'm not even being accused of anything. I'm the victim in this thing.
I'm the victim in this thing, he says.
And the DOJ is doing the right thing. Yeah, that was like the craziest part for me.
The thing, people are going to see the amount of money you're getting paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in this contract, and they're just going to be like, you can't be a victim while you're making that amount of money at the same time. That I feel like,
I'm not saying I'm a victim.
No, you did. You literally just said, not maybe 6, 7, 8, 10 seconds ago, you did just say you were a victim. It's a good thing about this whole video process is we get to see it with our own eyes and like do the rewind thing. But yeah, you did just say that.
First, a victim was their word. I don't regret anything that I did. I did a silly.
So you're not a victim.
Show for them. The funny thing is, this had nothing to do with Rubin Report.
So I was confused what they got from that.
That's what I guess you'd have to ask them, or you'd have to ask Lauren Chen. I suppose.
Yeah, it's almost like the simple answer would be just the stupid shit and the propaganda I was already pushing was just really helpful to the people of Russia, so that it was beneficial to them just to throw money to make sure that my shit stayed on the air because of how beneficial it was and how like their messaging it was. You know, I'm just throwing dots at the wall on that one. You know what I mean? Couldn't be that, right? I mean, that would just be way too easy of an answer. Anyways, that was fucking painful to watch. But again, I was dying for him to get another explanation because not many people have gotten him to divulge even more about this whole Tenet Media thing. So I'm glad I got to watch that one. Yeah, there are. May I be a co-host? To who? See, again, I always feel like I'm hopping into a middle of a conversation in the chat, so I try not to. All right, let's see. Let's see here. I think we have a couple crazy things to get to here too. Yeah, let's do the Pete Hegseth. Let's jump into the Pete Hegseth one. Let's see if I can share this tab instead. Let's see if this comes up. There's a couple of them on here too. Let's see. And play and put on screen like this. All right, so this is Pete Hegseth. Some of you may or may have or may not have seen these videos already of Pete from I want to say, let's see here. This is from during a 2016 Heritage Foundation speech from Pete Hegseth. But just in case you haven't, I think it's worthwhile for you to see not only who Pete Hegseth is in just the wild, wacky shit that he has said in the past, but also what people are defending, what people like John Fetterman are kind of defending when they say that, you know, they're just going to give him a chance. We'll just give him a chance and we'll see what he says, right? Or what people like Donald Trump who defend shit like this are actually thinking. So let's see if we can get into just a little bit of this here. And play.
It's after 7 years of Obama. So as good patriots after 7 years of Obama, what do we need to do? We need to unapologetically lead. Be willing to acknowledge that without America, there is no leader of the free world. And again, it doesn't mean we have to be the policeman in every corner, but we'd better be the world's sheriff with a big shiny badge, willing to say our security and our interests are important to us.
That's funny. That's funny because aren't MAGA the ones that say they're tired and sick and tired of being the world's police? Like that's what they don't want to be anymore. Like they want to take care of our own home, right? Like they just want to shore off the United States with a big wall or a big dome and take care of our homeland and just forget everybody else. And they're tired of being the world's police and they're tired of sick and tired. I don't know. Seems to me like that's exactly what Pete Hegseth wants. Either that he's just using this to justify his, ridiculous ideas of, I don't know, carpet bombing Iran, so to speak, or let's just say, you know what I mean? But there's a few more of these too. Yeah, there's another one of these. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, this one actually does go right along with it. Oh, that's that one. That's this one. Wasn't there like 3 of them on here? Oh, let's see what this one is. Yep, here we go. And wow, so sounds like he's heard that. Oh, hold on. Let me get rid of that one before. There's even, I think there's more on this page too, to tell you the truth. I think there's another one on there. What's the first one there? Hegseth wants to be the world sheriff. And then there's this too. Can't forget this one. Where Donald Trump, let's see here. This is the one that I'm talking about. I'm going to share this tab instead. Can you see this one now?
Donald Trump, let me bring you back to the fight against ISIS.
So I'm going to pause this just so I'll fill you in. So this is Donald Trump back in, I want to say 2014 or 2015, maybe. Talking about, how he would take down ISIS. And I just, now that he's about to take back power, I think it's nice to know what we might be expecting, considering just the other day he said that, what did he say? Let me get this right. If the hostages weren't returned by the day he took office, all hell would break out in the Middle East, is I think what he said. So.
All right, Donald Trump, let me bring you back to the fight against ISIS. In the last few months since we've been talking to you, at the first you said let Assad take care of ISIS, then let Russia take care of ISIS. Then you said you want to bomb ISIS. What's the Donald Trump policy between Syria and a Shia-run Iraq?
Well, my policy has always been the same. We're fighting ISIS, and Assad is fighting ISIS. And Assad, let's assume, is a bad guy, because he is. But we're backing rebels to fight Assad. Again, ISIS is fighting Assad. You got to pick who you're fighting. I mean, you can't fight everybody.
Is everybody? I think his whole thing was just everybody's fighting Assad. I think he said that about 5 times.
Be fighting everybody. Now you have Turkey involved, and Turkey sort of likes ISIS more than they like others, and nobody really knows because we don't have people that know what they're doing. So, in my opinion, you go along And Russia does not like ISIS, and people are starting to find out. I mean, in all fairness, they just lost an airplane, got blew out of the air. So Russia is not a fan of ISIS. Russia is bombing the hell out of them, starting to bomb them. I say ISIS is our number one threat. We can't be fighting everybody at the same time. ISIS is our number one threat.
So that's all you.
So what? So go ahead. You're not telling us how you'd take care of it, sir. Please go ahead. Please elaborate more.
Don't worry about. Just go and find out where they are. Take them out. Don't even worry about a coalition.
I like to do one thing at a time. I would knock the hell out of ISIS.
Okay.
I would hit them, Brian, so hard like they've never.
What about
hit
civilian
before.
casualties? What about the fact that we're targeting them and people are very concerned about collateral damage?
I would do my best, absolute best. I mean, one of the problems that we have, and one of the reasons we're so ineffective,
My absolute best. Go ahead, continue.
is they're using them as shields. It's a horrible thing. They're using them as shields. But we're fighting a very politically correct war.
Yeah. Well, we see that
and the
happening
other
in
thing is with the terrorists.
We're fighting a very politically correct war, right? Which is something bad, Donald Trump thinks.
You have to take out their families. When you get,
I'm sorry, they're what? You want to what? You want to take out their? Can I go back 5 seconds? Hit me with that again, sir.
War.
Yeah. Well, we see
and
that
the
happening
other
in
thing is with the terrorists, you have to take out their families. When
you have to take out their families.
You get these terrorists, you have to take out their families. They care about their lives. Don't kid yourself. But they say they don't care about their lives. You have to take out their families.
3 times he said it. So again, there's Donald Trump advocating to take out men, women, and children in the furtherance of war. I guess this guy that's not supposed to like war, And then there's so much shit that I'd fucking. I mean, again, oh yeah, you got it right. You got it right. Psychotic shit. Where are you? There, fucking Christ. There it is. It's just absolutely psychotic shit to sit there and advocate for war crimes on Fox News, and now what? To be going into your second administration leading the country. Yes, JD, you're absolutely right. That would be a war crime. Correct. You can't just take out the guy's kids. You can't just take out the guy's wife and his fucking nieces and nephews and shit. Right? I think we can all agree on that one. I think we can be in agreement on that one, that somebody that would say that probably isn't fit to serve as president of the United States, probably shouldn't have the fucking nuclear codes. Fucking unbelievable. Unreal shit. And what I was looking for is, Christ, I'm running out of time too. So let me make sure if I go back here. Took that one, I did that one. All right, let's get into some of the good things that Joe Biden has been doing on his way out of office, or at least a couple of the good things that he's been doing on his way out of office. Let me see if this comes across here. Joe Biden signs a... Get out of the way. Why is everything just inundated with ads now? Really? How do I get rid of this? How does this go away? That X. Good. All right. Higher Social Security payments coming for millions of people from bill that Biden signed. Again, good things on the way out of the door are good. President Joe Biden on Sunday signed into law a measure that boosts Social Security payments for current and former public employees, affecting nearly 3 million people who receive pensions for their time as teachers, firefighters, police officers, and in other public service jobs. Advocates say the Social Security Fairness Act writes a decades-old disparity, though it will also put a strain on Social Security trust funds, which face a looming insolvency crisis. The bill rescinds 2 provisions, the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. They'll limit Social Security benefits for recipients if they get retirement payments from other sources, including public retirement programs from a state or a local government. Quote, the bill I'm signing today is about a simple proposition. Americans who have worked hard all their life to earn an honest living should be able to retire with economic security and dignity. That's the entire purpose of the Social Security program system, end quote, Biden said during a signing ceremony in the White House East Room. That's a big deal, he said. Biden was joined by labor leaders, retirement advocates, and Democratic Republican lawmakers, including the legislation's primary sponsors, Maine Republican Senator Susan Collins, and exiting Ohio Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown, who received a standing ovation from ceremony attendees. The Congressional Research Service estimated that in December 2023, there were 745,679 people, about 1% of all Social Security beneficiaries, who had their benefits reduced by the government pension offset. About 2.1 million people, or about 3% of all beneficiaries, were affected by the windfall elimination provision. So I would like to think if, somebody had a second job, like we've heard a lot about, people that receive government benefits, but if it almost hurts them to get another job. It almost hurts them to work because it takes more out of their benefits than it would help them in the long run. More would get taken out. So I think this is a good thing for people that have that. Not only that, people that are retired teachers, retired firefighters, retired, what was the other ones? Police officers and other public service jobs now don't have to worry about if they do get they're in Social Security programs somehow, don't have to worry about that benefit coming down because of the pensions they receive from their, the companies or the towns that they retired from. So that's one of the good things Joe Biden has been doing on the way out. Let's see if I can get another good one in here. Let's see here. There's another one too. Let's see here. 8 million. That's a bad one. That's not a good one. I don't know if I have the other good one in here. I have the Zuckerberg. Oh, and thank you to Damon for becoming a $5 member on Patreon. I appreciate that, for becoming a new Patreon member. Thank you very much. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It's going to take a few weeks, I'm sure, for people to remember that I'm going to be live on Wednesday. So I appreciate you guys joining me. I appreciate the guys that remembered. I appreciate the people that remembered. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Make sure you share it out. But all right, so we'll go one good, one thing that is not so good in my eyes, and we'll do this one too. So Biden administration planning $8 billion arms sale to Israel, and okay, I guess I'll do that. To Israel as Gaza war continues. Now, as far as things Joe Biden's doing out the door, I wouldn't call this one of the top things that I'm going to commend him for. The sale includes medium-range air-to-air missiles to help Israel defend against airborne threats, 155-millimeter projectile artillery shells for long-range targeting, Hellfire AGM-114 missiles, and 500-pound bombs and other weaponry. So, as far as the medium-range air-to-air missiles to help Israel defend airborne threats, no problem. No issues. No issues. I think they should be able to defend themselves against all means, against all attacks. But as far as the offensive weaponry, why are we now? I think this is going to double. So the U.S. State Department has informed Congress of a planned $8 billion weapon sale to Israel as the American ally presses forward with its war against Hamas in Gaza. Some of the arms and package could be sent through the U.S. current stocks, but the majority would take a year or several years to deliver, according to two anonymous U.S. officials. The sales include medium-range air-to-air missiles, which we said, the 155-millimeter artillery shells, Hellfire missiles, and 500-pound bombs. Weaponry aid package record sales of at least, the weapons package would add to a record of at least $17.9 billion in military aid that Washington has provided Israel with since the start of the war in Gaza in October 2023. Yeah, I don't even think he even looks too happy about what he's doing on that one. But to continue to fund what I have long been saying is, if not a genocide, a very well executed attempted genocide, again, like the insurrection on January 6th, just because it did not succeed doesn't mean there wasn't an attempt at one, doesn't mean an attempt at murder, if failed, is an attempt at murder. That's why that is also a crime, to tell you the truth. But now, I mean, how many different human rights organizations and advocacy groups have to come out and say the exact same fucking thing. How long does this have to go on? How many women and children do we have to see carried out of bomb sites just like this you're seeing on the screen? How many people have to be displaced? How many people have to be starved? How many shipments into Gaza have to be stopped by the IDF? How many journalists have to be stopped from getting into these areas to actually report on what's going on? How long does it fucking take before we realize what we're doing is only contributing massively to what is one of the worst fucking atrocities going on the fucking face of the planet right now, along with a few others? So, like I said, I get credit where credit is due, and I'm going to criticize things that I feel like deserve criticizing, because if you love your country, you're also able to criticize your country. So, righty, take that off the screen. Some will never agree, but that's all right. I mean, again, how many human rights organizations, how many different people that have grown up studying this conflict, how many people in the actual area, how many people that have been through genocides before, how many families from the hostages that are actually supposedly what we're supposed to be fighting for have to say, listen, I don't even fucking agree with the way this is being done, and I have family members that are being held hostage. As a matter of fact, I think we've probably caused more harm and damage to the hostages through our own fucking missiles and bombs, to tell you the truth. But yeah, so like I said, credit where credit is due. And again, I'm going to have no problem and no qualms about criticizing where I think criticizing should be seen. But here's another good story. And I think I do believe that Philip mentioned this on Hal's show. I think it was Saturday. What's today? Today's Wednesday. So yeah, it must have been Saturday. So let me share this tab instead. Let me get you over here. Do I have to make it bigger? Let's do that one. That way you can see it a little more. So in historic record, Ukrainian F-16 pilot downed 6 cruise missiles. How about later? We'll pick later. 6 cruise missiles in a single mission, Air Force claims. This would be, I mean, this is just some fantastic shit. So for the first time in history of the F-16 Fighting Falcon, the Ukrainian operated jet shot down 6 Russian cruise missiles during a single mission in December, including 2 with the aircraft cannon in the Air Force. The Air Force claimed on January 7th. The interception reportedly took place during a mass Russian aerial strike on the morning of December 13th, 2024, which Russia saw deploy almost 200 drones and 94 missiles. For the first time in history of the Fighting Falcon, an F-16 fighter jet destroyed 6 Russian cruise missiles in one combat mission. Ukraine has received a number of U.S.-made F-16 fighter jets from the Netherlands and Denmark, deploying them multiple times in air defense roles during the Russian mass strikes on cities and infrastructure. Let's see. They said even Americans couldn't believe you did it. Air Force Command spokesperson Yuri Inhat said in an interview with the pilot, whose identity was not revealed, probably for the better. Aviator said that he approached a group of cruise missiles, and despite their electronic warfare countermeasures, managed to lock on to targets. The F-16 reportedly shot down 1 pair of Russian projectiles with medium-range missiles, and then the other pair was short-range missiles. Ukrainian F-16s are equipped with 4 air-to-air, medium-range, and short-range missiles. Without missiles and low on fuel. Yep. Yeah, I can see how that would affect, especially after that. The pilot was recalled from the area but spotted another missile heading toward Kyiv. He moved to intercept it and opened fire from his aircraft with a cannon against the projectile, which was flying over 650 kilometers per hour. A difficult and risky maneuver, the Air Force said. A few bursts from the cannon and an explosion, another one. A secondary detonation, I thought, but as it turned out, there were 2 missiles, the pilot said, adding he did everything he was taught by the U.S. instructors. So fucking big ups to this guy. Hopefully at some point, it'd be great to see if he had some footage on there. You know, if he was filming, like if he had a GoPro or, cameras on board. I'm sure they might have it, actually, if they can confirm it. I'm sure if anybody can confirm it, it'd be the Ukrainian military, but I'm sure they're dying to divulge that information or dying to divulge that video if it does exist. But I just wanted to make sure we give credit where credit is due to something extraordinary, another feat of just extraordinary. Just I don't even know what you call it. Like Ukrainians being able to do things with equipment that others were not able to do with the same equipment. You know what I mean? Like things that they've done with drones, things that they've done with robots, things that they've done with, just separate guns and mounting them on different, weapons platforms, such as, pickup trucks or tracked vehicles and making them robots. I mean, the advances that they're making in this, sadly, in the war sphere, in the war zone, is going to make leaps and bounds going forward. And there are many countries already taking quite a close look at how they've been doing things, and you can guarantee you're going to see some of those tactics being implemented in other militaries around the globe too. So good to see there. Good to see there. And what's our next story? Let's see here. Oh, do I even want to? All right, I got to fucking cover this asshole too. Wasn't going to do it, but let's see if I can do it. This is Scott Jennings. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Scott Jennings, but he's that asshole that they have on CNN now to make the antagonistic point of views. He's the one that's supposed to get their, they like their rage clickbaity type shit out there. And then basically he says ridiculously ignorant, dangerous, and bigoted shit. And then CNN somehow tries to sane wash it a little bit by bringing him back night after night. Somebody might make a rebuttal, but then, somehow it's quashed and just moves on to the next subject. But this is him talking. This is his point of view, and him talking about what we heard Donald Trump say and how he wasn't really gonna talk. He really wasn't gonna put down the idea that some military action or some economic coercion was in play in order for his attempts to get Panama, Greenland, in his moves against Canada. So let's see what this asshole had to say. Let me make this a little bigger. Bring this to the beginning and
says what he means, what he's really going to do. I mean, even the fact that Don Jr. is going to Greenland.
I want to talk about Greenland, though.
Yeah. I mean, look, everybody.
Oh, Jesus. I wonder if we should check out that video if we have enough time. There has to be video. How are you? Hello from Scotland. How are you? Glad to be watching. I never know. Fucking, I always feel like I'm mixing up every accent when I do it. Anyway.
Everybody would like to buy Greenland, but are we going to take it by force?
I don't know. We could. There's not that many people there. But I don't think we should have to.
Do you hear him? We could. There's not that many people there. Right? As if, we could just do the same thing fucking Russia's doing to Ukraine, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter. We see it as ours. They see it as theirs. They say potatoes. We say potato. Not many people there. We have overwhelming force. So we might as well just, roll in there? Fucking roll in with the tanks? Is that what you're saying, Scott?
Have to. And here's why we should want it. They got rare earth minerals. We already have.
Oh, right. So in the very next sentence, he gives the game away. Isn't that why imperialist powers have been invading, weaker nations for centuries? Right? So how would that make us any different than what Russia is doing, or the imperialist ideas that China has, in order to get the raw minerals and the material that they need? Somebody's going to explain to me how that's any different, and he's sitting on CNN saying this shit right now.
Have some kind of a space base there, and it would fortify us against the Russians.
Question is, what
this is it.
How?
I mean, Trump's a wheeler dealer. Make an offer to the Denmark and see what they.
A wheeler dealer. Yeah, we'll just wheel and deal for these fucking nations. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just imaginary lines, right? Just imaginary lines drawn on a map. They don't really mean anything. So then no borders exist anywhere, is what you're saying? It's just everything's up for grabs. Everything's up for a fucking deal. Are we listening to this fucking horse shit? I mean, what absolute fucking maniacal bullshit. Some fucking war hawking, if I've ever heard it. And let's just say, is there a reason? Is there a reason why you think that Donald Trump may be wanting to pursue this? Is there a reason? Is there an angle that you could think maybe why he'd be wanting to do this? How about this one? Why Trump's pursuit of Greenland could be cheered on by Russia? Bet you didn't see that one coming. Yeah. Bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? Man, it's just, they make us seem crazy when we see this like whole Russia connection, it's crazy how it continues to pop up at every single turn, though. It's amazing how, I don't know, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, and fucking the rest of those assholes, the shit that they're just already saying is beneficial to Russia. And it just continues to be weird that they support Donald Trump, a man who we have have for a long time known has ties to or sympathies towards Russia in Vladimir Putin. But now the crazy shit that he's saying that everybody says is just a distraction could possibly benefit Russia. And let's just see what the key points here. President-elect Donald Trump's ongoing pursuit of Greenland may have raised the hackles. What's that say? The hackles? Raised the hackles? Okay. Raised the hackles of Denmark, but its territorial ambitions might find support in Russia. Prominent Russian pundits reportedly voiced support for the move, saying it would validate Moscow's own expansionist ambition. Meanwhile, Trump announced on Monday that his son Donald Trump Jr. was making an impromptu visit to the island. So let's just see here. So now that we're doing kind of similar things that Russia's doing, you think that would give them justification to come out on the world stage and say, that now that they're doing that, maybe it's not so bad that we're doing what we're doing in Ukraine, right? So you can see where this is just, U.S. President Donald Trump's U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's ongoing pursuit of Greenland may have raised the hackles of Donald Trump, which retains sovereignty over the Arctic island, but his territorial ambitions seem to be gaining traction in an unlikely quarter, Russia. High-profile political pundits close to Russia's President Vladimir Putin have already voiced their support for Trump's restated ambition to buy Greenland and expand U.S. territory to include the resource-rich island, commenting that such a move would validate every other country's expansionist territorial ambitions and, most importantly, Russia's. Right? I mean, it's almost weird. It's almost like everything the guy does in some way, shape, or form can benefit Russia in some way. You know what I mean? Trump said on a social media platform, True Social, in December that he saw ownership of Greenland as essential for the U.S. economic and national security, restating a bid for the island that he made in the first term as president. So much shit happened. It's so easy to forget. It really is. It's so easy to forget all the fucking craziness that this guy put us through the first time, right? Like, even us being as involved as we are and like reading shit every day, listening to people talk about shit every day, every single day we're in it. It's even me. I'm like, God damn, I forgot about that one. Right? Like every so often it comes up, you're like, man, how the hell did I forget that one? I wish Brian would show it. Well, Brian would show what? What should I show? Brian can say there, but not that. What am I showing? Anybody? Show it, Brian. Show what? What are you talking about? It. What is it? That's why it's dumb. It's never good to read the chat during the show. Never good to read the chat during the show. What should I be showing? I'm confused. Anyway, only a couple more things to get through, and I'll let you go. I know we're getting late here. The clown. No, I'm doing my best. I have the Trump interview. I know it's already been covered, so I'm trying my best not to show it, even though the shit that he says in there is just out of control. But maybe we'll get into this one. Let's get into this one on the way out. This will be our closing. This will be our closing. Canadian what? Oh, Elizabeth May video? What's that? Hold on. What am I missing? The one time I probably should have been reading the chat. Give me a second. The Green Party leader, Elizabeth May, discusses U.S. Canada. Is that what you're talking about? Was that the video from 5 days ago? It's amazing. The leader of the Green Party in Canada. All right, we'll check out a couple minutes. Ask and you shall receive. And thank you, Nancy, for the Venmo. Appreciate you. Hold on. Sorry, it's playing in the background, but somebody sent me a Venmo. I want to make sure I thank them. Nancy. Brian, please help me. Yes, Nancy, I will absolutely make sure that I help you. I will send you a message back as soon as we get off the show, okay? Thank you. Appreciate it. What's a Venmo? All right, let me see if I can share this tab instead. This is, I'm assuming, the one you're talking about. It's a half hour long, so obviously we're not going to get through all of it, but we'll get through at least 15 minutes. So let's go.
It's good to be back. I want to start this press conference being our first press conference of 2025. The nouvelle année, j'espère que ce sera une très, très bonne année pour tout le monde, particulièrement ici au Canada. I want to start by just taking a moment, because it's my first public opportunity to do so, to say that we join the world in mourning the loss of a great human being, the late Jimmy Carter, someone who demonstrated through his life's work and his actions a consistent commitment to service, to compassion, to caring for his fellow human beings. I don't think any of us will get over the moment that we first saw that a retired former president and a former first lady had taken up 2x4s and hammers and were building homes for the homeless. Jimmy Carter continues to be an inspiration, and we will watch his state funeral, recognizing that while the world has lost a great human being, heaven has gained someone who deserves their heavenly rest. I am here today to talk about a different president, President-elect Trump, and as leader of the Green Party of Canada, and as someone who is honored to be Canadian, honored to serve with the leadership of my fellow, and I do regard us as friends and fellows, opposition party leaders, with a prime minister who leads his party. We have one thing in common, and it's deep. We're Canadians. And when we approach a president-elect who has, astonishingly, decided that a first order of business is Canada bashing, this is unique. I've been thinking back over previous presidents, can't think of a single U.S. president who has ever thought a good way to start a relationship with their single largest trading partner is by insulting us. Well, never mind. We have to.
I like it already. I like the tone. I like the snarkiness. I like it. Let's continue.
Prepare for president-elect. We got today being January 3rd, 17 days and counting till the inauguration, where we're promised an onslaught of punishments and abuses. Probably not, maybe not, but there's things we can do as Canadians to make sure we protect our economy and our society. That's our job. What he does, that's up to him. We in Canada stand together, and we're firm, and we must negotiate from strength. We recognize that this prelude of threats of 25% tariffs on everything and some really quite, talk about bizarre Canada bashing, but that a president-elect would suggest he's going to seize parts of other sovereign countries. Take the Panama Canal back, or maybe buy Greenland. This is not serious stuff. Yet we have to take very seriously that President-elect Donald Trump has Canada in his crosshairs.
That's a good line right there. That's a
biggest
good line right there that we could use. It's just very, it's not serious stuff that we have to take very seriously, unfortunately. You know?
Trading partner, historically, great ally, great neighbor, good friend. That's what Canada has been to the U.S. and what the U.S. has always been to us. So the tariff threats are real, But we have to negotiate from strength. And that means from the get-go, making clear that we don't go it alone and cut out Mexico. We're renegotiating COSMA. We do it from strength. We do it from the evidence that is clear. That as much as, by the way, back in the 1988 election, I was with John Turner on, don't go for this free trade deal with the U.S. will be subsumed.
How long does it go like this? How long is she rip on him? Because I'll watch her as long as she rips on him.
I think Canadians now, as a country, we've shifted to recognizing that it turned out that creating an economic trading unit in North America with Canada, Mexico, and the United States has been, for the most part, to our mutual advantage. If anything, Mexico got the worst of it, which is another reason we can't cut them loose now. Claudia Sheinbaum and the government of Mexico deserve our full support. And we work together because that makes us stronger. We know that isolationism and protectionism, as much as they're now part of Trump's playbook, have never been a Canadian strength. We believe in cooperation, multilateralism, and
it's really a good way. I mean, it's a good example of how, you know, you can make a speech as a world leader or a representative, and kind of have that snarkiness and you know, make sure everybody knows that you know how ridiculous the shit that you know, Donald Trump and his cronies are saying and pushing, and the ideas that they want, you know, while still being forceful and you know, not being let's say, I don't know, degrading or let's see, unbusinesslike, you know, not as a representative, a state representative. You can still do it.
we negotiate from strength. We listen to President-elect Trump's concerns. We dispute the nonsense that our border is allowing fentanyl and criminals to pour into the United States. We present the evidence to him that that's not the case. We don't need to kowtow. We need to point out to him that trade is not a zero-sum game. The fact that they buy more stuff from us than we buy from them doesn't mean that they're losers. Actually,
I like the head, Bob. As somebody that has many aunts that I've seen in this mood, I can recognize a good, like, you know, that little head sway. Check it out.
From us than we buy from them
See
doesn't
that, like that little back and forth, like, you motherfucker, don't you? This is about as much as you're gonna get from me, but you can tell what this means. And she really wants to say, that son of a bitch. That's what she really wants to. That's what she really wants to say.
the fact that they buy more stuff from us than
That
we buy
son
from
of a
them
bitch.
doesn't mean that they're losers.
Right? Tell me, anybody's got any aunts or, you know, older, much older sisters or something like that, you know, that, like, fucking
losers actually having access to a lot of high quality goods if they buy it at a price that is, especially given the Canadian dollar at the moment, a bargain, doesn't mean they've lost. This is not mercantilism. The trade rules that have been developed for multilateral trade through liberalization and many trading blocs around the world, whether we're looking at the Canada-European trade agreements, Canada to Asia, and certainly COSMA, we know that these relationships matter. Interestingly enough, there was a recent, I'm deviating, I do that. The Economist had a recent column.
I really like her. I'm deviating. I do that. Oh, that's good. What do we got? We got 5 minutes left. Let's see here. Should we end on her? Everybody seems to love her. You can love her. I do. I do that. I deviate. I want to hear that one more time, actually. I do that.
I'm deviating. I do that. The Economist had a recent column from someone who goes by the nom de plume Charlemagne. Maybe Canada should join the European Union. We have a lot in common. Obviously not geography. We have in common the geography of North America, Canada, US, and Mexico, and we negotiate from strength. And we stress that the goods and the resources we sell to the United States benefit their economy enormously. What would U.S. agriculture do without Canadian potash? What would the U.S. economy? I know that some of our premiers are freelancing, and okay, Doug Ford, go for it. But listen, we're not going to cut the U.S. off of energy supplies. We're trading partners. We're not combatants. And that symbiotic relationship of our trade throughout North America needs to be stressed. But as much as Donald Trump has decided to throw out this, I've mentioned Panama Canal, Greenland, and this nonsense, and I think it's time that some Canadian leadership stood up and said, sorry, Donald Trump, as kind as your offer might be, that we should be the 51st state, there's a hard no on that. Clifford Lincoln, former Quebec Environment Minister, had an excellent letter to Donald Trump in yesterday's Montreal Gazette. No, thank you, Mr. Trump. We will not really seek to be, and I quote, ever happy little clams in a magnificent MAGA ocean. Newsflash, Donald Trump, we are not aspiring to be a 51st state. We are already a sovereign country. We are a nation. And anytime anyone looks around the world for the top 10 places to live, Canada's in the top half of the top 10, always. The United States? Never. Even the U.S. News and World Report, which puts together such a list, looks at things like affordability.
God damn. Shots fucking fired. Shots are being fired everywhere tonight. I feel like I'm catching strays all over the place. Strays from fucking the Green Party, strays from fucking Hal's. I mean, I don't know where I need a fucking Kevlar vest tonight, for Christ's sakes.
Access to healthcare, safe streets. Where do you want to live? Canada. Our Olympic athletes, when climbing the podium, don't stand up there and sing, oh, to be somewhere down the list after Puerto Rico. No.
She doing impressions? Are these impressions? Is she doing I like this. She's doing an impression of, all right.
Seeing the true north strong and free, we stand on guard, O Canada. We stand on guard for thee. So no matter how many Trump photos of him in business suits striding a Swiss mountain he posts with the Canadian flag, we're not intimidated. So I read a lot, and I say, okay, people who know Trump in business deals say this is his tactic before negotiation. Humiliation, business approach. Okay, so I take offense. We do not strive to be the 51st state. We're a G7 country. We are part of the world as an independent, sovereign nation. Comme Canada, nous sommes déjà une nation, nation fière. Nous sommes une nation avec les relations dans les Nations Unies, un membre des Nations Unies, membre de l'Organisation mondiale de commerce, membre des groupes multilatéraux. We're part of the Commonwealth. Nous sommes membres de la francophonie. Nous avons un rôle important dans le monde, avec les relations avec les autres pays et comme une nation avec un bilan coopératif, un bilan d'efforts multilatéral, nous avons le respect des autres nations du monde. So no.
All I can think of is Canadian bacon. Yeah, you're going to have to write it in English and French.
No, sorry. And I really also take offense, sorry, Mr. Trump, took offense to your idea that Pierre Poilievre wasn't good enough to lead the Conservatives. Wayne Gretzky, I mean, he's great. He is the great one. He skates to where the puck is going. It's not going to MAGA. The puck is on a Canadian ice rink. And by the way, Mr. Trump, please, before making public pronouncements that Wayne Gretzky should run for prime minister, give yourself or get yourself a briefing on the nature of parliamentary democracy, a Westminster parliamentary system, and a constitutional monarchy where no one runs for prime minister. We have elections for members of parliament. We don't get to pick and choose among our billionaire friends for who gets a seat at the cabinet table. If they're not an elected member of parliament, well, Canadian system is different from that of the United States of America. I suggest that Mr. Trump find one of his grandchildren's school books and look at the year 1776, which may explain a few things to him about why our systems of government are different. I don't want to belittle Mr. Trump, but on the other hand...
No, please, you are, and you do mean to, and I love it, and please continue to do so.
Hey, Donald, Have we got a deal for you? You think we want to be the 51st state? Nah, but maybe California would like to be the 11th province. How about it? California.
Shots fired again. I might have to just hide you kids, hide your wife.
California, Oregon, Washington. You've got geography in common with us. And not only that, we've already got a carbon trading system between California and Quebec. We've got some strong alliances on our West Coast from British Columbia. There's been a lot of academic papers on the idea of Cascadia. So California, Governor Newsom, and Washington State, Jay Inslee, and newly elected Governor of Oregon, Tina Kotek. How about it? Want to put a referendum to your citizens? Because this is what you deal. Have we got a deal for you? This is what you get. Free healthcare. Universal free healthcare. No more 1-year-olds who's...
Hold on. Did you throw in a have we got a deal for you? We got a deal for you. That's fucking fantastic. Hold on, I gotta hear that one again. Hold on. That's great.
This is what you get. Free healthcare. Universal free healthcare. No more 1-year-olds who suddenly fall off the Medicaid list and their parents are in the news because they're trying to do a GoFundMe so they can get their daughter to a doctor. Universal free healthcare. And guess what? Those gun laws that your Congress is too afraid to pass because of the national gun lobby, we already got our strict gun laws. That's why we have the safest streets around the world, or at least.
Fuck me. Like, can I get this smoke? Can I get half this smoke from the Democrats? Just like even maybe even a quarter of this smoke. Like, give me all the fucking smoke. Like, I want all the smoke, but I'll take a quarter of the smoke. Good grief almighty. Give me the chills and shit.
In the United States, by the way, the most recent stats, 5.9 out of every 100,000 people is killed in a fatal gun incident versus 0.88 per 100,000 in Canada. That's because we have strict gun laws. California citizens, Oregon, Washington, safer streets. Here we already have good gun laws, and women have a right to an abortion under our universal health care system. But, we don't have to stop there. Donald, think about it. You could get rid of all these states that always vote Democrat. You know what else will take Bernie Sanders off your hands? Proud new Canadian citizen of the great province of Vermont. Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. We'd love to see you. Our maritime provinces already have
Wait a minute, time out.
Deep link.
Why'd she stop in New Hampshire? What the fuck? I want out.
Great province of...
Wait, a land of beer and hockey all the time? Oh, that sounds so awful. That sounds terrible. No gun. Oh, jeez.
Vermont.
Oh, Canada. No, just
Hampshire, Maine. We'd love to see you. Our maritime provinces already have deep, deep links and ties. Well, enough kidding around. But honestly, President Trump, get used to it. Canada is a sovereign nation full of, guess what? Proud Canadians. We're not jingoistic. We don't boast a lot. That's one of the things we kind of have in common with Jimmy Carter. We're not a big nation for braggarts and bullies. We actually like to think we're of service in the world. We could do better. We can always do better. But we love our country. And it's a country. It's a nation. And we do not aspire to be 51st state. So let's not hear that anymore. If it was a joke, it was never funny, and it ends now. Thanks. Quelle question?
Yeah. So
You're saying there that Canada needs a strong leader to kind of push back on the next president's musings. With the position the prime minister is in right now, do you think he's...
I just have a feeling her answers to these questions are all just as amusing. So I'm going to continue for a couple of minutes.
capable of being that leader?
Sure, because we're a country. We're not, as I said before, we're not a republic with a president. Our head of state is not our prime minister. Our head of state, actually, and a lot of Canadians will find it a continual anachronism that our head of state is King Charles III. We are not a country that relies on a prime minister solely for leadership. We can pull together. We have 10 provinces, 3 territories, 5 different parties in parliament. And of course, in the Bloc québécois, c'est pour tout le monde, peut-être c'est une question un peu étrange d'avoir un parti en opposition, peut-être le prochain parti d'opposition officielle, qui était un parti des séparatistes. Mais quand même, nous sommes un pays avec les mêmes buts de cette question de commerce avec les États-Unis. So Quebec too. We are in this together to have a unified front to make sure that going into negotiations, the United States understands that we're not wannabe 51st staters here, wherever you look. So obviously, to your question, obviously, Justin Trudeau's position is tenuous. That doesn't mean Canada's position is tenuous.
On that, obviously, we saw over the holidays the growing calls for the prime minister to resign. You've served alongside him for quite some time. I'm wondering what your advice would be to him right now. Do you think he should resign?
Look, it is a question. And as leader of the Green Party of Canada, I'm not.
I'm sure they get into Canadian politics there. Well, I'm very glad you showed me that or asked me to play that. That was fucking fantastic. That was fucking fantastic. Like I said, I'd like to hear that tone taken a lot more. What time is it? 10:06. All right, so I can still get out of here. This is only a couple minutes long. All right, I'll play this for you guys, and then we'll get the hell out of here. All right, let me do this. I'm sure you guys have seen this, or at least heard of it by now, but let's get into it, so I'm not keeping you guys.
Hey, everyone. I want to talk about something important today, because it's time to get back.
I want to talk about how I'm really shitting my pants about what Donald Trump's going to do in his new administration. And I know how he said he was going to lock me up for the rest of my life a couple of years ago, but bygones be bygones. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bend over and lick the boot, even though I have Jerry curls from 1973 here. And I don't like the rest of the show. What's he on, a fucking ping pong? I don't know. Looks like he's on the set of a wood making show. Anyways, but now he's going to tell you how he's prepared to switch his entire fucking platform to suit Donald Trump and bigots and the rest of these fucking mealy mouth fucking no teeth having bastards that love hating on the fact checks. And it's always seems like the fact checks go against Donald Trump and how he might be privileged from this.
Get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of
But are we not going to bring up the fact that Donald Trump is one of those people? Right? How he's also asked social media companies to take things down off of their sites. How he's, signed, have millions. He's probably got millions out there of people that sign fucking NDAs that they can't speak around. Are we to say that he's not censorious as well? I'm sure there's ample volumes. Didn't he want to, I don't know, what's that whole thing? Eliminate the Constitution? Didn't he want to shoot protesters in the leg? Are we trying to say he's not trying to clamp down on shit, or you're not going to bring that up in this situation, Mark? Maybe that's the next video. That's got to be the next video.
A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things.
I'm glad you recognize those. I'm just. Are you going to say that those are all the majority found in the Republican Party.
We take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally.
So here he's basically saying the complex systems we basically made so we don't have to pay actual human beings overhead that would have to sit here and actually read something that could actually say, is this person actually advocating for what the system thinks it's advocating for, or is it clearly either making a joke or on the other side of that argument and trying to make the argument by, saying, the opposite side's argument in a facetious way. You know what I mean? Like that would be automatically clear to maybe a human being with a brain, but not so much to AI systems that they have in place now. So this is him basically saying, you know what, I'm going to say that my systems that I'm such a brilliant man that I put together, they suck, right? They don't work anymore now that I've gone through an election year, censoring content on threads and, censoring content on Facebook, political content. Now that that's up and Donald Trump's won, let's just open the fucking floodgates wide open, baby. Let them open. All that hate, we want that hate because it gets good clicks, and clicks means money.
Accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with.
Again, who do fact checkers usually, like if you were to add up the majority of the fact checks, I wonder who they go negatively against and who might benefit the most from not having fact checks anymore. I can't say like who's the guy that lied over 30,000 knowable times during his 4 years in office? Right. So all those fact checks that we had to go through, I'm sure they really pissed him off. Right. So I'm sure he's, I'm sure it has nothing to do with Trump. I'm sure it has nothing to do with
community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased. And
again, there he's saying it right there, too politically biased. So because in this pool over here of all the fact checks, the Republicans seem to be getting called out, and Donald Trump on an overwhelming basis, and people that surround him, because it just so happens to look like they're the people that get called out the most. It somehow is political. But again, if it was the other way around, would he be saying the same thing? I highly doubt it.
Have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics.
Get rid of a bunch of restrictions
on immigration and gender.
On immigration and gender. Now to the untrained eye, I could see how you wouldn't know how that would be a nod to, I don't know, Republicans, you think, but to the people that watch this, right? Is it pretty obvious to you that this is a direct nod and a wink, a nudge, right, to the right wing? They're just going to get rid of the regulations on immigration and gender, and that's supposed to help the left somehow. That's supposed to is that right? He's got to unwoke, right, Aloysius? Right.
That are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now we're going to focus
right. So like the N-word and stuff like that, stuff that would automatically show up to, like pop up like, hey, might want to make sure that this one doesn't get through. We're going to get rid of those. We're going to get rid of those. So you're going to see them. You might have to report it, but you're definitely going to see them now.
Those filters on tackling illegal and high severity violations.
High severity violations. Again, so unless it's reported enough times, or if it's at the level they deem to be severe, it's probably going to stay up, right? You're probably not going to get it taken down.
And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action.
Correct. So they'll take no action. But if you report it, there's a chance they may sometime in the future, possibly, could be, maybe, like, kind of will look at it. So it will, like, I have vacation next week. What do I got? The gym. I'm supposed to start the gym the following week. So maybe 3 weeks out from now, we'll get to that one. But probably not. But maybe. Like, do you understand what's going on here? Do we understand how this is a nod and a fucking wink to the right, and how this is just another tech billionaire, another part of the media coalition that has been trumping its way down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the boot and hand off $1 million checks, and George Stephanopoulos and ABC giving $15 million to his library so they didn't have to go through the litigation process, right? Same shit. Same fucking shit.
The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require...
All right, I can't look at his face anymore. That's it. All you're going to need to know is he's changing his policies. From what we heard was their crackdown on political speech. You know, they were really cracking down in a fucking election year, which makes absolutely no fucking sense. To now all of a sudden opening the floodgates wide open, and making it just all that more easy for racist bigots and fucking, the rest of those assholes to get out there on Facebook and start harassing and bashing on people. But again, I don't know what else you'd expect. All right, let's get into, I don't want to go to sleep. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, 2 + 2. What is it? Helen's an email you were supposed to use? Is that to me or somebody else? I never know when I read the chat. I never know who's talking to who. Are you talking to me? Is you talking to who? Anyways, let's get into the super chats and the milestones. Thank you guys so much. I know it's hard to remember when somebody just starts their second show or a second show of the week, but we'll be doing this every Wednesday from now on, Wednesday and Sunday. So make sure you hit the bell, the notification, the like button, subscribe. That would be fucking fantastic. I really do appreciate you guys joining me. That way, the more people, remember and realize that I'm here on a Wednesday night, the more people will watch. So that would be fucking greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And we'll be having some guests, depending on, how many viewers, when. I might just have the guests on Sunday, but also on Wednesday. Who knows? We'll try to figure it out. We'll play it by ear. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how many people watch. I don't want to waste anybody's time if they're not going to get the eyeballs that they deserve. If I'm getting more eyeballs on a certain day than I am on one of the other shows, then obviously I'm going to pick the days with the most eyeballs on it to have the people on. So we'll figure it out from there. But Colleen, thank you so much right up from the get-go. Appreciate you. Thank you for not forgetting the show. Thank you so much for your contributions as always. Jerome, thank you so much. In Seattle, nonetheless, thank you for the $2. I really, really appreciate it. Moms Russo, how are you? How's everybody? No audio from your source, though. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. Sometimes it disconnects. Like I said, I'm just happy that the Wi-Fi made it this far, because the wind is fucking absolutely howling out there, and it's freezing in here. It's so windy that the heat can't keep up. So I got to keep my heat on like 75 just to keep it 64 in here. Colleen, again, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Take you and all chat to be on my phone. Love to all. I appreciate it. And good night. Thank you. Ramona, 1-6, so-called patriots should not be pardoned. They committed crime and need to pay. I am right there with you. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your contributions, Ramona. I appreciate that. Luis, oh, thanks for the Sparks rate. I really do appreciate it, guys. And thank you for being for 9 months. Let's fucking go. Petrazi gifting 5. Thank you so much. What up, Peter? Let's go, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. I've been seeing you in a lot of different chats. And I think now people have seen me in lots of other different chats too. And you know, seeing me contribute to other spaces and other people in this in this space. So now you know I'm not fibbing. I'm not lying when I say that, you know, I'm all over the place. I like consuming you know, progressive media and seeing who else is in the space. I like it. I like hearing different ideas and different positions. So I appreciate you, Peter. Thank you so much. I'll be seeing you in other chats, I'm sure. DC, let's go. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the 10. Vincent, thank you so much for being a member for 3 months. The best people flock together. Let's go. Let's go. I appreciate you guys. I really do appreciate you guys. Beverly, Brooklyn Bev loves you, Boston Brian. Right back at you, Bev. Right back at you. Linda Lou, still blue, about to board a flight into the danger zone. Well, what's that mean? I tried to read that real quick in my head before I made a comment. Does that mean you're getting on a plane to somewhere? Should I say safe flights? Or is that just what you're saying coming into the show? I'm confused on that one. My bad. I should know better. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Jan. Became a YouTube member. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. I very much appreciate that. Same thing with Chris. Same thing with Beverly and JD. Thank you so much for being here for 9 months. Vegas. Let's fucking go, Vegas. Larry, $5. Appreciate it. I miss Vegas. Vegas is a hoot. Vegas is a fucking hoot. Thank you, Jim the Geek. Celebrate the first Wednesday show. I very much appreciate that. Benny Loco. Wizzy Buff didn't mean James has a sister's panties in a bunch. Brendan Larkin. So I don't insult the trolls. Evening, y'all. Right back at you, Benny Loco. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Robin, let's go. How are you? Appreciate you, Robin. Thank you for stopping by. Le Donny Doudou Parlez-vous. That's got to be a t-shirt somewhere. That's going to be a t-shirt somewhere. Thank you so much. JD with another 5 gifted. Thank you so much. Benny Loco hitting us again. Thank you so much for being here for 5 months. Love y'all. I had the sink guts out fixed. Let's go. Not easy to do. Not easy to do. Let's go. Respect where respect is due. Benny Loco. Good shit. Good shit. Wendy S. Been here for 7 months. My sparkling family. I appreciate you, Wendy. Thank you so much. Jenny Faye. How are you? Just a bit of Wednesday appreciation. Thanks, Brian and Mons. Remember us blue dots stuck in red states when you're all Canadians. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound bad. Some really, really good maple syrup, right? I mean, I love waffles and pancakes. So fucking maple syrup is huge. I love hockey. Grew up playing hockey. I love beer. Grew up drinking beer. I mean, I'm used to the cold. Obviously, not a ton of downside, really. I must say, gotta say, not a ton of downside. Don't have to worry about the gun violence that we might, you know. Just it's a thought. It's a thought. It's a thought. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you gotta throw the puck down in the corner there, eh? And then when you got the guy in the front there, and then you shoot it down into the corner there, back into the into the offensive zone there, eh? And then by the time you get it back to the defense there, you get it back to the left winger, back to the center there, and then you shoot it back on the goal there, and you should have yourself a goal. Pretty much that's how it goes there, eh? I mean, it's just when you listen to so much hockey, you can almost anticipate what the what the Canadian announcers are going to sound like. Julian, I love your skill set. Well, thank you, Michael Irish. I appreciate it so much. And the last one, wrapping it out, is Graphene Dream. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. I really do appreciate you guys. I know I went over as usual, as I always do, but I'll let you go. Yeah, just make sure until next time. Oh, what do we got? Just before we go on, I want to remind everybody of the Zoom so I don't have to come back on. We have our Patreon Zooms, January, obviously the 13th. Oop, hold on. My bad. Let me get that out of there. My bad, Gaffney. The 13th and the 27th, if anybody signs up at patreon.com/Boston Brian before then, at any one of the levels, you can come and join our Zoom where we just shoot the shit, nothing political, nothing behind the scenes. You could also become a channel member for less than $2 a month down below. That would also be fantastic. Just great ways to help. Or you can get some merch at getthemshirts.myshopify.com. But yeah, until Sunday, on which another, I'm sure, a day where I'll have a million different things that I want to get to, and I will not get to all of them. But thank you guys again for showing me that video That woman was amazing. I love her energy. I love her sassiness. Clearly knows her shit and clearly has confidence in what she does. So again, more of that energy at least. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I'll see you Sunday. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Make sure you hit the like on the way out. Make sure you share it on the way out. I do appreciate you. I'm Boston Brian, and I will see you guys. I will see you guys Sunday. Thank you so much. Later, guys.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful lot. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely.
Bad news, bad news. Even when it's good news, it's bad news.
Taking it back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses. I say mud, I said crud. You fall into some crud or something?
White people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones. Is there anything worse than white people?
I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
In the hell was that all about?
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Call them dumps, big massive dumps.
I'm just dandy. I got a bowl of chocolate pudding in my underpants.
Bye.